Hey guys, I wasn't planning on doing another video, but I wanted to jump on here because this one is especially close to my heart. This is somebody who lived in my town, somebody who went to the same dance and gymnastics place as my daughters, and a family that I thought was such a Christian family. I mean, they were so kind to everyone, and this girl was so kind to everyone. She was one of a kind, and she actually cared about everyone, and everyone cared about her. And this is just horrific what's come out, that an actual family member may have been the one to murder her. Her celebration of life was on Thursday, and I appreciate you guys in my community for the support. But before we get into the video, leave a like and subscribe, or don't subscribe, but this case means a lot to me, so I appreciate you guys watching. Alright, let's get into it.
Breaking news, we just learned an alleged cause of death in the case of the teenage varsity cheerleader found dead on a Carnival cruise ship. The new information is coming just a day after her parents named a member of their own family a quote suspect in Anna Kepner's death.
Can I speak?
That video is per News 6 in Orlando, and that is Anna Kepner's stepmom appearing in court in a separate custody case. But it is a case where we are learning more about the boy now at the alleged center of this case. We're on the case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. All right, hey guys, before we get into this case, let's talk about the app Upside. It is free and gets you cash back on daily essentials to your bank. So here, the FBI and medical examiner have yet to confirm the details
I didn't think you guys would want to hear a sponsor, so I skipped through. Sorry.
in the investigation into Anna Kepner's death, but a bombshell report just came down that is claiming to know how this girl died on a Carnival cruise ship, and it points to this being a murder investigation. Now, this is the video per WSVN in Miami from November 8th when Kepner's body was taken off of the Carnival cruise ship named the Horizon. This video was shot by reporter Sheldon Fox. Kepner, again, just 18 years old, was a high school senior, a varsity cheerleader from Titusville, Florida, which is about 3 hours north of Miami. Kepner was on the cruise ship that launched out of Miami. It was a 6-day cruise with her dad, stepmom, and 2 of her stepmom's biological children, a 9-year-old daughter and a 16-year-old son. And there is a lot of attention now on that 16-year-old because he reportedly shared a stateroom with Anna Kepner. I have a big update on him that we are going to get to in just a moment. It is being alleged that he was obsessed with his stepsister. Now, here is the timeline that's been laid out of the alleged final days of Kepner's life. So let's go to November 6th, and this was one of the last days on this cruise. Kepner wasn't feeling well, and the Daily Mail says that she was at dinner with her family, and she told her family that she was just gonna go back to her room. Now that brings us to November 7th, the next day. Kepner's family, they got together for breakfast, and Anna didn't show up. It was around 11 o'clock that morning that the Daily Mail says a maid entered Anna's stateroom and made a horrifying discovery. Kepner's body was allegedly found wrapped in a blanket, covered with life jackets, and stuffed under a bed. Now, people aboard the ship say
Stuffed under a bed, and the life jackets that were in the cruise ship were taken and put around the bed to hide her body. This is sickening. I thought so much of this family, and the family's great, don't get me wrong. It's just this 16-year-old stepbrother of hers. And I don't even know the cause of death yet. Spoiler alert. So let's find out.
around that time, they heard an alert about a medical emergency on deck 8, and people who were staying in staterooms near Kepner's were told that they would need to leave those rooms earlier than originally planned the next day, which is when the ship returned to port. Kepner's body, once back on land, was sent to the medical examiner in Miami on November 8th. Now, it is alleged that Kepner died as the cruise was making its way from Mexico back to South Florida. Now, it is interesting that the medical examiner listed Kepner's death at a very specific time, 11:17 in the morning on November 7th. So that is the day before the ship returns to Miami. The FBI is investigating this case. They have not said much more other than that publicly, but a bombshell report just came down from ABC News citing a source that says that Kepner was allegedly suffocated to death. ABC says that she was put in a, quote, bar hold where an arm is put across her neck. There were reportedly 2 bruises on the side of her neck. ABC is also saying that preliminary investigation does not show any signs of sexual assault, and there are also no signs of drugs or alcohol in her system. All of this is according to ABC News. Now, as far as a suspect, a lot of signs are allegedly pointing to her 16-year-old stepbrother, who she reportedly shared a room with on this cruise.
It's our understanding that because the cruise was in international waters, that the young child, not the 9-year-old, but the 16-year-old, was allowed to drink.
This is video per News 6 in Orlando of a custody hearing involving Kepner's stepmom. Her name's Chantel Hudson. She is married to Anna's biological dad. Now, Chantel has been going through custody proceedings with her ex-husband for more than a year, according to court records that we've reviewed. On Thursday, she, her ex, and their attorneys appeared in court in a virtual hearing. And in that hearing, her ex's attorney said, quote, "The older child, who is approximately 16 years of age, is a suspect in the death of the stepchild." Now, that is the first time that the word suspect has been used in this case. Earlier this week,
Also, there was a news clip earlier with Anna's ex-boyfriend saying that they were talking on FaceTime and at home, and the brother, the same 16-year-old brother they're talking about, got on top of her. And he was like, "What are you doing in the room?" And it kind of scared him, and he got up and ran. So I don't know if maybe the 16-year-old stepbrother had a thing for Anna or what. I don't want to speculate because, like I said, I'm very close to this case, and I don't want the family to go through any more than they have to. So let's just continue.
Chantel filed an emergency motion for continuance of hearing on petitioner's motion for contempt and enforcement. In plain terms, she wanted to delay a hearing in this custody case that was scheduled for December 17th. And this case has nothing to do with Anna Kepner's death, at least now directly. This case has been going on for more than a year, but now the death of Anna Kepner, the potential involvement of one of the stepchildren in this case, has brought all of this to the light. Now, the document says the respondent has been advised through discussions with FBI investigators and her attorneys that a criminal case may be initiated against one of the minor children of this instant action. Chantel wanted to push back the hearing because of what the motion describes, quote, as an extremely sensitive and severe circumstance that has arisen. And Hudson would not be able to testify at that hearing, according to this motion. The document claims that she might have to plead the fifth. Now, it goes on to say, quote, currently there is an investigation being conducted by the Federal Bureau of Investigation arising out of the sudden death of 18-year-old Anna Kepner, who was found deceased on November 9th, 2025 on a Carnival cruise. Miss Anna Kepner, the deceased, is the daughter of the respondent's paramour, and the respondent and the minor children of this instant action were all on the cruise ship together, end quote. We do want to note that the document lists that she was found deceased on November 9th because the ship returned to port and Kepner's body was taken to the medical examiner's office on the 8th. We do believe that that is a typo. In the court hearing this week, we saw the attorney for Chantel's ex-husband make some allegations related to what happened on board the ship. The attorney says the 16-year-old stepbrother reportedly was sharing a room with Anna Kepner, and he says that because the ship was in international waters, the 16-year-old boy was allowed to drink alcohol. Now, Chantel's attorney pushed back on that and said that there is surveillance video that shows the stepbrother did not drink on board the ship, and the attorney also said that DCF investigated the case and saw there was no alcohol in Chantel's home. Now, we did look up Carnival Cruise Line's rules when it comes to alcohol and minors, and on its website it says that people do need to be 21 years old to drink aboard the ship, no matter where it's located. But back to this hearing. Chantel said that the stepbrother had to be hospitalized, quote, immediately after the incident, and she did not say why. We are talking about her biological son. She also said that her son has a, quote, psychiatrist appointment next month, but she did not elaborate any more on that. Now, the boy who the parents say is a suspect in Kepner's death is now living with one of his mom's relatives. It's been reported that Anna Kepner's stepbrother was allegedly, quote, obsessed with her. This is according to the dad of one of Anna's ex-boyfriends. He spoke to Inside Edition. Quote, she was scared of him because he always carried around a big knife.
Then why in the world would you let him room with her? Why? Why would that be allowed? Anna, baby, you should have spoke up a lot sooner if there was more red flags with him. That's horrific.
Man said, and he also said his son once saw the stepbrother go into Kepner's room during a FaceTime call, quote, when she was sleeping and get on top of her. He also went on to say he's like infatuated, attracted to her like crazy. He always wanted to date her. Now, the FBI has not officially said whether the stepbrother is a suspect in Kepner's death, but that stepbrother did reportedly share a stateroom with her during this cruise. Anna's stepmom's custody case involving that 16-year-old will next go before the court on December 5th. News 6 in Orlando reports that the hearing is expected to be 4 hours long, and Kepner's biological dad, who was on the cruise, could testify at that hearing. Now, he's given a couple interviews since the death of his daughter, but nothing since these new developments about how she was allegedly found had been made public. Now, Chantel has made her Facebook page private since the news of these court documents became public this week. But prior to that, she had an ABC News article posted to her feed, which she said would be the only interview that her husband, Anna's dad, was going to do. Now, in that interview, there's a quote that says, quote, when she walked into a room, she would light it up. If you were sad, she'd make you laugh. She would joke around. She'd be the funniest little person in school. A week ago, the Daily Mail also spoke to Anna's dad, Chris Kepner. This appears to be his last interview since the custody case involving his now wife has gone public. He told the Daily Mail, quote, we were there as a family. Everybody was questioned. Everybody came off of that ship. I don't know who they are looking at or what their investigation is. When the Daily Mail posted their report on how Anna's body was found, they said that Anna's dad did not return their calls for comment. Now, I did reach out to Carnival Cruise Lines for a statement. This is what they told us. The death of a guest traveling on the Carnival Horizon voyage that returned to Port Miami on Saturday morning, November 8th, is being investigated by the FBI. Since this is an ongoing matter under the jurisdiction of law enforcement, it is up to the FBI's Miami Public Affairs Office to provide further details. Our focus is on supporting the family of our guest. Now, as the detail.
Yes, guys, please keep this Kepner family in your prayers. They were good people. May have had one bad seed, but they were really good people. She attended Christian school. She was a cheerleader. Everyone loved this girl. She lit up the room. She really did.
Of an investigation into the death of Anna Kepner have come to light. People continue to honor her life that was taken far too soon. Now, people gathered to celebrate Anna's life on Thursday at a church near her hometown. Kepner's obituary reads, quote, at just 18 years old, she filled the world with laughter, love, and light that reached everyone around her. Her family has said that she had just taken a test with plans to join the military after she graduated high school in May. One day, she hoped to be a police officer in her hometown. But for as much as people are remembering and honoring Anna Kepner, some have said there were signs that were missed, and we'll just have to see what happens in her case as the FBI continues to investigate. And at the point of this recording, no one has been arrested in connection to the death of Anna Kepner. I spoke with retired NYPD Detective Tom Smith, co-host of the Gold Shields podcast, about this investigation, but we did the interview before the breaking news came in of Kepner's alleged cause of death. Joining us now to talk more about this case is retired NYPD Detective Tom Smith, also the co-host of the Gold Shields podcast. It's always great to have you here. On Law and Crimes, you kind of figure out a case that is still such a mystery at this point. For this 16-year-old step-brother of Anna Kepner, and we don't know if this is a murder, but if he's facing a charge like that, what goes into determining whether he could actually face charges as an adult?
Well, that's going to be determined later on with the cause of death or the depravity of it, of the crime. The feds and the U.S. Attorney's Office, if they choose to keep this case, will make that determination down the line when and if he's charged.
And just what stands, I mean, this story, since her body was taken off of the cruise ship, and you don't see cases like this that often on cruise ships, which is, I think, fueled so much of the interest and the speculation surrounding this case. But for as much as we don't know from the FBI, and we have to wait and hear what they have to say, what we are learning, what stands out to you?
What we're learning is, they have the ability to really pinpoint comings and goings of people because of the videos that are on that ship. I mean, in a cruise line you're kind of like Times Square. There's the camera everywhere on that cruise ship except in the staterooms, which is where we're coming to. But some of the things that pop up that are so intriguing is just where it takes place. Like you said, Chris, this doesn't happen normally on a cruise ship, especially hiding the body and the possible infatuation that is coming out with the stepbrother and the victim. All this plays into this just kind of movie-like crime that took place on this cruise ship. But I think the more they establish a timeline in this is going to be very important.
And you think of all the videos that the FBI has access to, if Carnival's turned all of those over, to just follow, this stepbrother, we'll see what happens from an official charging standpoint if that takes place. Anna Kepner, I mean, I'm sure outside of being in a stateroom, you can see every single step that they had on that cruise ship on the 6 days that they were aboard, every interaction they had as well. But knowing that allegedly she was found under a bed in a stateroom where there isn't a camera, and maybe even you see the stepbrother who is sharing that room with her, you see him go in, maybe you see him come out, but how do you put together the timeline of what happened in a place where you don't have a camera of what exactly happened when she died?
Well, that's the good thing. Like I just said, you have the entrances and the hallways of a particular part of that ship. So you can establish pretty well the last time she enters that room and doesn't come out. Who's in there with her? You can also go by, I think the keys are all electronic now as well. So you can now pinpoint who's actually accessing that room at what particular time. So the timeline can get established pretty well with just on the video cameras themselves. And, as far as witnesses too, the parents, when's the last time they saw her? She wasn't feeling well when they had dinner and she went back to the room. So there's a starting point to the last time someone might have seen her into the last time someone exited that room other than her.
I pray, I really do, for this family that it was not her stepbrother, even though it's looking like it. But I pray that it was someone else. I really do. For this family's sake, I really pray.
So the people with her reportedly on the ship, you have her stepmom, Chantel Hudson, and she's the one in this custody battle where everything's coming to light, just as far as the circumstances surrounding this 6-day cruise that they were on. You have her now husband, who's Anna's biological dad, Chris Kepner. He hasn't said a lot to the media, but he could testify in a hearing coming up related to his now wife, and then the 2 stepchildren and Anna Kepner. How important are the videos, not just of maybe the final moments where she goes into a room and then maybe that stepbrother, based off what has been speculated, he goes into the room. What role do the videos of any sort of interactions they've had on that ship during the 6 days they were at sea, how could that play into an investigation?
Oh, it's important because on top of the witness statements, which all of them will be interviewed, and others on that ship as well who had any contact with her, the videos are great, but you need the corroborating statements to go along with those videos. So if there's a video of the 2 of them interacting and maybe having an argument or something to that effect, and someone actually talks about that, that's important. So you always want witness statements to go along with video evidence that you have, because it just makes a stronger case when and if this individual gets charged.
Knowing that right now, the person who, in court, the parents called him a suspect, he's 16 years old, considered a minor, a juvenile. What type of access do investigators have to him to question him about what might have happened on board?
Yeah, the parents are going to have to be there and consent to that interview. You're not going to interview a juvenile by himself on his own. So the parents are going to have to be notified. If they have a lawyer that might be representing this individual, he's going to have to be notified. So it's not as easy as just going to him and speaking to him. There's a whole, layout as far as policy goes, when and even if you can talk to this juvenile.
And if the juvenile wants to talk, is it up to the parent of when the interview starts and when the interview ends?
Absolutely. Yes, he can say all he wants, but he's in control and custody of his parents. So he could start just running his mouth. If they tell him to shut up, he's going to be quiet. But again, everything's there. So, written statements are going to be done as far as the observations during an interview. So it all depends on what is said, how it's said, and who's in that room at the time.
And I know his mom in this custody hearing, she spoke up and said that he has a psychiatrist appointment next month, which opens the door to speculation that there's some sort of mental health issue going on there. As an investigator, how hard is it to get access to understanding whatever type of conversations he might have had with a psychiatrist or any sort of treatment he's received related to mental health issues?
Yeah, those are tough because of the confidentiality of it. Those are going to be difficult to get. But if the psychiatrist is willing, to speak to investigators about what was going on and what is said, maybe not give the whole story about his treatment, that's one thing. So it's going to just be a...
Wait a minute. I thought that if you admitted to homicide, that your psychiatrist has, by law, he has to tell. If you say that you committed a crime like this, to your psychiatrist, by law, I thought that the psychiatrist has the accountability. It's his job. I can't think of the word right now. Sorry, I'm upset. But it's his job to go and notify the police if someone has committed a crime and admitted it. Am I wrong? Let me know down below, guys. I don't know, but that's always what I thought was the case.
Yeah, those are tough because of the confidentiality of it. Those are going to be difficult to get. But if the psychiatrist is willing, to speak to investigators about what was going on and what is said, maybe not give the whole story about his treatment, that's one thing. So it's going to just be a line of questions that the psychiatrist is able to answer, and maybe not even the psychiatrist. You could talk to the parents as well about what is the overall treatment. Why is he seeing this individual? All that isn't confidential. Just of the reasonings this process is going on in his life.
The time of death for Anna Kepner, and this has just been because we don't know her cause of death. The FBI hasn't even said whether they believe that this is a murder. They're just saying that they're...
Well, yes, we do know the cause of death. Strangulation or smothered. It's horrible. Horrible way to end such a beautiful girl's life. And I'm going to stop the video right here, guys. This is just, it's horrible. It happened in my hometown. Not in my hometown, but she lived here. And she was just a wonderful person. I can't express that enough. And I've never had something like this happen so close to me. Well, probably about 20 years ago. Yes, and one day I'll tell that story on here. But until then, I'm going to keep looking into this case, and if you guys want to follow it along with me, I'd appreciate it. That would mean a lot. But I just wanted to jump on here because we found out cause of death, which I already figured. So, alright guys, have a great night, have a great weekend. I'll see you guys back on Monday.